I'm just going to briefly go through a bit of what Joy and Chalice talked about this morning when they talked about the specialist dementia service that we conducted across regional WA. And as Chalice said, we covered 3 towns in that project. But just taking you back a little bit further, Dementia Friendly Communities first started back in 2015, where Alzheimer's WA conducted about 30 community sessions and found out from people what it is they actually wanted. Over the years, we've kind of worked and we've developed memory cafes and a few other things that have started. But then back in 2016, we were funded to do the Shire project. And as Chalice said, that consisted of the Dementia Specialist Program. It also consisted of the Enabling Environmental Consultancy Program, which supported the facilities. It also consisted of an age-appropriate accommodation where our consultant went in and consulted on new builds across the regions. And then it consisted of the Dementia Friendly Communities project. That was 2 components of that project, where we did a roadshow and we went to about 33 towns across the regions, and we had 78 towns represented. So of the 300, 400 people attended those sessions, they came from 78 towns across the wheat belt, southwest and Great Southern. We were also very fortunate to have 2 international speakers that joined us for some of that. Al Power, who conducted 4 sessions, 2 to community groups and 2 to health professionals. And then Michael Verdi, who also joined that roadshow and did 10 sessions across the communities. The idea of the Dementia Friendly Communities was to actually address a whole town approach. So we decided the second part of that project is that we would choose 2 towns. So we sought interest from towns who wanted to become dementia friendly communities, and the shires needed to be involved. So we sought them to sign a memorandum of understanding to be part of it and to make a commitment, because it is a commitment to get your whole community to actually become dementia friendly. And so these towns that joined us were Manjimup and York, and they decided that they wanted their towns to be dementia-friendly communities. So the work involved multiple education sessions and information sessions, and as I think Joy said this morning, developments of working parties. We chose the towns because of the involvement of the residential facilities in those towns. So in Manjimup, we worked with the residential facility in that town, and in York we worked with Balladong as well. So it was so that we were trying to bring not just communities, but the residential facility also take it out to the community and get the community involved. And I think, as Joy said this morning, she opened the doors of Valley View as well to get more interaction with community groups. So part of the Dementia Friendly was actually getting whole of town involvement. So we worked with businesses, small businesses, shopping centres, local police, schools, sporting clubs and community organisations. The working parties that were developed included people living with dementia, their carers, and representatives from a whole range of groups, because we wanted the whole town to be involved, and that's how you get a dementia-friendly town, as everyone needs to know. So the working parties were established in each town, and as I said, we had representatives from as many groups as we could. Education sessions were offered. We actually went into schools and we did some education with school groups. Some of the outcomes of that was that school groups came into some of the residential facilities and started interacting with the residents, something that they'd not done before, and suddenly they got a different view of what people living with dementia and even what residential facilities were like. The facility in York would often tell us that they were kind of closed off from the town, and I think Chalice may have mentioned that a little bit this morning, but once they kind of started changing that view and getting town to come into the facility, they got a different view and people started looking at things differently. As they gained a greater understanding of what it's like for people living with dementia, that they're not that different. I heard someone up in York when we went up there once saying that people used to cross the road. If they saw someone who they thought had dementia, they would go to the other side of the road to avoid them because they thought they might catch it. So that illusion, that stigma that is out there for people living with dementia it's real. And so this project was about how do we change that view. And what's important here, and I know dementia-friendly communities is probably different to what, it was very much about our funding from WACS, WA Community Country Health Service. But all of us live in a community, and how we do this in metro is, I think, more of a challenge than how we do it in country towns. Because in country towns, it was easy to get everybody involved, but how do we do that in our communities day to day that we live in? Because we all live very separate lives, and I think I've heard this morning a couple of stories about how we need to get our residential facilities more open to community. We need to get more community in, and we need to get people out. So that was something, I've had a couple of conversations today about that, and I think it's really something that we can learn. So we provided training to multiple groups and got people involved, provided a lot of education, and we also were lucky enough to get a film crew engaged, and they came with us to capture the story of when we started delivering, working with the towns, and they filmed that journey along the way. And so they actually captured some of the changes that were made, and the video that I'm about to show you actually demonstrates for one couple the difference that it made in that town. We've been fortunate enough to secure funding to do another 2 towns, so we're about to start our work in another 2 towns. But as we look towards the future, how can we actually incorporate more communities to become dementia friendly? And that's something that's a challenge for everybody, and I guess as we work together, we've got more chance of getting there. So this film that I'm about to show you looks at the lives of a couple, Laurie and Doreen, who live in Manjimup. And it really does depict the difference, the impact this project had on this couple, and how it's enabled them to actually stay in a town. You don't see that in here, but when we first started doing this film, Doreen was very quiet about Laurie's condition. Like she really didn't, they were becoming isolated, she kept to herself. But I remember talking to Casey, who did the filming, saying that she was afraid to talk about it before, and now she talks to everybody about Laurie having dementia. And it's actually given her, helped change her life as well as his, because she now talks all the time about what it's like for someone living with dementia. And so she's continuing to do that education. So the film tells you more than what I can actually tell you. It just shows how it impacted on their lives. And this is just a short version of a very long version we have, but we thought we wouldn't put you through the long version at this stage, and we're still working on that one, but later down the track we'll be able to show you. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and I'd like to introduce Laurie and Doreen, if we can have the video now.
Alzheimer's WA has started a whole-of-town pilot project to look at what do you have to do to build a dementia-friendly community in Western Australia. And we've decided to document the project so that we're right here at the beginning, and we'll be able to capture through this medium the experiences of people in the pilot project and look at the results and what the impacts were at the end of it.
My name is Lawrence McGregor. I'm 75 years of age. I reside in Manjimup in WA, and I am living with dementia. I've got frontal lobal dementia. This was diagnosed, I think now, time rattles by, coming close to 5 years, I think it would be.
We have been through very difficult times in the beginning. Really hard times. It might have been probably easier for me to walk away at some stages because it was really difficult and I didn't know what was going on. We did lose friendships. The diagnosis for me came as a relief in the end, because at least we knew what was going on now. People just don't understand the symptoms of dementia and why people behave the way they do sometimes. And there is a stigma.
I can go downtown and I've got to be very careful where I step, where I walk, what I do. But for the general public to notice that and know it, they wouldn't have a clue in the world. I'd have to say, as I say, walk around with a sticker across my head, I have dementia, please be careful of me.
A lot of people feel a little bit embarrassed about it. They don't want to talk about it, they don't want people to know about it, and therefore they keep very much within themselves. And again, that's not good for us as an older population. We need to be part of it, we need to be considered
Normal people.
Normal people. The things that I would like to see changed or introduced into the town is a public awareness, some sort of awareness so that when people, not just Laurie and I, but other people with dementia can walk through town or go into the shop, and if they have a hiccup or a meltdown or behave oddly or do anything that's strange to everybody else, people can then think, oh, perhaps he's got dementia.
I went to the Beronia Club because I was invited down there because it's got a lot of dementia patients. My first feelings was, hey, these people are quite advanced, and I just sat there and watched what they were doing, absorbing it, and felt that I wasn't ready for this. I've got some reservations about that. I sit down there and I feel as though I'm out of place. I'm not ready for this. I pulled myself out of going, which was a mistake.
Laurie, the reason that we called you today and asked you to come down to the centre was we'd love to still have you around, and we're wondering if you would like to be a volunteer here.
They want me back there, and even if I'm just as a volunteer, and I think that was a wonderful feeling on their part. It made me feel really special. It gave me a great uplift.
Would you volunteer in the Beronia Club as
I'll
well?
volunteer in the Beronia Club. Oh, you've got to give me a little badge with my name on.
Yes, definitely give you a badge.
Thank you.
12 months ago, I probably wouldn't have thought about asking Laurie to be a volunteer here. As the 12 months has progressed, we've realised that there are opportunities for people living with dementia to be a part of our volunteer group.
This volunteering has done a big thing for Laurie. I think he feels like he's worthwhile. Someone has seen him as being able to offer something. I'd like to see that there would be a quiet time or a quiet hour or a slow checkout so that people with not just mental disabilities but perhaps physical disabilities as well can enjoy a quiet moment and not be overwhelmed.
I can't see the big nationals playing ball with that. Their staff are there employed to keep pumping people out the door with groceries and that. They can't afford to have a downtime. They're not aware of it. They're not aware of people with dementia. They're running a business and they're a highly competitive business that they're in. They don't have time for that.
My name's Tom and
I'm Doreen.
Laurie and Doreen. Nice to meet you.
We were taking up to Coles, do some shopping. Next now I'm talking to the manager of Coles.
Laurie has some dementia happening.
Yep.
And it's more or less his frontal lobe, which is like personality changes and behavioural changes.
Oh, we actually are looking at training some team members in dealing with people with dementia.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, also we're always looking at doing something called the slow hour, where we turn the music down.
Wow. I'll be a great fan of it. I will be a great fan of that, Tom. He's telling me they're getting on board this dementia program.
When Alzheimer's WA contacted me, it all made me think back to what Coles is doing already, and there's a program called the Quiet Hour.
I was taken aback by it because I thought, well, how can they do that?
What I've done is got some information up about that, and what we are in the future is looking to introduce that into the store. It's for 1 hour a week where we turn the music down, so people who find it hard to shop with loud music can find it more comfortable.
It'll be a much calmer environment.
Very calm environment for people to walk around, and there will be staff will be aware, which is immensely helpful to me.
Well, I feel I'm being very well supported now. I just can't believe the difference that such a small thing about having an hour for Laurie to go shopping on his own has made me feel that he's still got that independence. He's still able to go there and feel comfortable, and everyone's going to treat him with dignity and respect.
Thank you.
This is going to help him a lot. And we're just so lucky to be part of this program. I think the future looks really, really good, and hopefully that will stave off, all these little things will help stave off the decline, because he's being treated as a normal human being and keeping his mind active at the same time.
I'm now very excited through this program it's been put together by Alzheimer's WA. It's given me a broader look on life. I'm not trying to lock myself away so much. It's given me the view that I can see things that are happening out there. People are coming to me, giving me support, that I didn't know was there before. It's a disease you thought you got, and you just become a recluse, and not anymore.
Well, Laurie, we're very appreciative of what you've actually done for us, especially here in the committee, and it would be fairly difficult to actually replace you as the treasurer.
I think having it out there in the open now
It's
probably
wonderful.
makes you feel
It makes me feel wonderful.
whole again.
Francis, thank you very much for your kind thoughts. You just don't know how much I appreciate it. It makes my life so much easier. I feel excited about it now. I can go to the wellness centre, and it's hello, how are you, Laurie? It feels loved. It feels tremendous. Yeah, it's been an emotional journey this last 12 months, knowing what's happening and what's been put together by the Alzheimer's Association of WA. It really is. Thank you.
One thing that we've realised is something so small and such small changes really can make a huge difference.
I think the outcomes from experienced by the Manjimup community will serve as a great guide for other communities who'll be able to pick up where this program is left off here, and will be a great launching pad for other communities.
Even though the pilot has finished, we as an organisation, along with the Shire and other organisations that have shown interest in the community, are really keen to keep this rolling.
It hasn't taken us a lot of energy, it hasn't really cost us any more money, it hasn't taken us any more time or anything to add a layer of dementia friendly to any of the works we do. So I can only recommend that all communities embrace all attempts to be dementia friendly.
I'm absolutely delighted that Alzheimer's WA have selected the Shire of Manjimup for their dementia friendly pilot. It's been a great challenge for us, and the rewards have been great. We're going to have a much more dementia friendly community in the Shire of Manjimup than we would have had we not been selected. I would implore every council in WA to take up the dementia friendly challenge that's been set down by Alzheimer's WA, and they will be a much better community for it.
It has been a big thing for us, and I know it's going to help a lot of other families as well.